And Minister, this is nothing but a pure political stroke, a last-minute amendment shoehorning a tax break for vulture funds or cuckoo funds or investment funds, whatever you want to call them, who are now incentivised to bulk buy homes and get a tax break if they lease them back to the local authorities. And you know only too well that in May the public were outraged when they seen what had unfolded with a cuckoo fund snapping up 135 homes in Maynooth in a newly built estate under the noses of struggling home buyers who worked hard for many years to save the deposits to own their own home. And it outraged the public even more when they found out that this fund, like all the other investment funds in the housing market, are being facilitated by government in doing this, pay no corporation tax on their rental profits, no capital gains tax and minimal stamp duty. And in response to this avalanche of outrage from the public, the government scrambled to give an appearance that it was taking action, hoping that the public would buy it, but in reality it was a con job because you introduced a stamp duty that, in my view, was too low in the first instance. You allowed investment funds that bulk buy apartments to be completely exempt from the higher rate of stamp duty, despite the fact that 6 out of every 7 homes built in Dublin City in 2019 were indeed apartments. And despite the fact that the officials within the department called for the stamp duty surcharge to apply to apartments, warning that by having no extra stamp duty on the bulk purchase of apartments, you potentially drive the individual home purchaser out of the market, and that is exactly what is happening. And the government paid no heed to that advice and put the interests of the funds above the interests of home buyers. But with this amendment, Minister, you go a brazen step further. You give investment funds a tax break when they snap up homes from under the noses of struggling home buyers if they lease them back to local authorities, with local authorities and taxpayers picking up the bill, paying the rents to these investment funds for 25 years, and these funds not paying a cent of corporation tax on the rent that is paid to them. Tax arrangements that have been facilitated by you as Minister for Finance and your government. You couldn't make it up. And not only will this allow funds to continue to push struggling home buyers out of the market, it also delivers poor value for money for the taxpayer. And this isn't just my view. It isn't just the view of Sinn Féin. It is the view of the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform. I listened to the comments made by the Taoiseach yesterday and again today in response to my leader's question, Mary Lou McDonald. It is clear that the Taoiseach simply doesn't know what he's talking about. Investment funds aren't just outbidding prospective homeowners. They are outbidding approved housing bodies by as much as €80,000 per year. They can do that because you have introduced sweetheart tax deals that allow them that type of firepower, and you're doubling down on it with tonight's sneaky amendment. And Sinn Féin will not stand for this. The Dáil should not stand for it. We will oppose this amendment, and unless you scrap this amendment, we will oppose this legislation, because what you are doing should not be facilitated by this House, because it will have long-term consequences for young people and old people who are locked out of this market.